Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Krsnatarian way of cooking. So today I'm going to share with you a very interesting recipe called lemon cake. So usually I'm not that much fond of sweets, but this particular recipe, when I made this several times and I tasted it, I really liked the zesty flavor and that sweetness combined with it. This recipe, after multiple attempts, I have made it to its perfection, I feel, because it is nice and soft, like spongy, and just makes the entire cake taste so good. So I decided, okay fine, this is the time now to share the recipe with you all. So before beginning the recipe video, I just wanted to say that because now I have a toddler at home, and if there is a little bit of disturbance here and there, then please forgive me. And also this recipe, because I'm making it in the oven, if you are planning to make it in the steam method, if you do not have an oven, then you can just use the steamer method, which is generally made for cakes. I will show you also in the process that how to do it, but I will be especially baking the cake today. So hope you'll all like it. So let's proceed towards the recipe. So first I'm going to use 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to use this strainer. The reason why I'm using this strainer is so that when I'm making the cake, if it is sifted, then it will be more soft and, like, you know, fluffy, what you call it, like more spongy. So now I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Okay, just 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon of baking soda. First I'm going to mix everything like this and then sift it inside. That's it. So you see this? This is what we wanted to avoid. Helps a lot. Now you see here I have this lemon. Now for the lemon cake, it is very much important to use some lemon zest or lemon peel. So what you have to do is, like for washing this lemon nicely, what I did was I put some half teaspoon of baking soda in hot water, like boiling water, and then I kept this lemon inside it for around 15 to 20 minutes. That kind of removes any kind of impurities on the peel, so you can use that for your cake. So now I'm going to use around 1.5 teaspoon of these lemon peel. So how you have to do is, when you are grating it, you have to make sure that this white part is not going in the flour, because this white part is very bitter. So you want to make sure only the zest goes in. So I'm just going to scrape half side of the lemon. Okay. You can even use the traditional small yellow lemons. That you have to just use full one of it. This is bigger, so I'm just going to use half side of it. This is what is also going to give that zesty flavor. Okay. This is not yet 1.5 teaspoon. Okay, so we got our 1.5 teaspoon of the lemon zest. Mix this well. And I keep this mixture aside and start showing you the wet ingredients, how to get them mixed as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to add to this is 1.5 cup of castor sugar. Now this is like a regular sugar, but this is not icing sugar, because you have to make sure that you do not add icing sugar. This is just granulated sugar. So 1.5 cup of that. And then here I have a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. You can even use sunflower oil, or you can use olive oil. Just make sure that the oil which you are using is not too strong. Like, do not use the peanut oil or almond oil or mustard oil, because they have a very strong smell to it, so that will kind of ruin the entire lemon cake. So I just added that, and I'm going to give it a nice whisk. This I'm going to mix this nicely. So now in this I'm going to add around this half of this lemon. Now if you're using smaller yellow lemons, then just use 2 of them. So I'm going to use the entire juice of that. Just make sure you hold it like this so that the seeds come off on your palm. I'm going to give it a nice whisk. Now in this I'm going to add around a cup of thick yogurt. Now you have to use your full fat yogurt, not the watery yogurt. If your yogurt is too watery, then you just make sure you tie it in a cheesecloth and let the whey drain out, and then you just use that yogurt. So around 1 cup of that yogurt you have to use. So you see this? This is how thick the yogurt is. I'm just going to put that in. Okay. I'm going to give it a nice mix. Make sure that the sugar is blended well with the yogurt. So this is how it is. Now in this I'm going to add around a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Just use some safe vanilla extract, vegetarian one, alcohol free. Now these 2 things are completely optional. If you want to avoid it, you can do it, but I just wanted an enhanced flavor for my cake and also a nice color. So I decided to use some yellow food coloring. Just a few drops of it. And then here I have some safe lemon zest, which I'm going to use around just few drops, like 2 to 3 drops of it. It's very strong. That's it. It's pretty strong, so you just want to make sure that you do not use too much of it. Just going to use that, like, whisk it well. So that's how the color. So I'm just going to use half of the dry ingredients in this. Okay, here I'm not going to use a whisker, I'm going to use a spatula, because we want to make sure that the cake is more fluffy. So we're just going to fold it. The idea is that this entire cake should be nice and soft and fluffy instead of being a denser cake. So once this is mixed well, now I'm going to add around 1/4 cup, between 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of milk in this. I'm going to add the milk. Going to mix it again. Now I'm going to add the remaining flour. Let me just dump this in here and then show you. This will be easy for you to watch. So here I'm still seeing some lumps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the whisker, but very gently whisk it. So just mix nicely. just go in between the whisker and the spatula. Just want to make sure that there is no lumps. So this is how our batter turned out. This is the same consistency you require. Now I'm going to place this in a cake tray. Now if you have a round tray, you can use a round tray, or you can use a bread tray, which I am going to use. Just getting a rectangle lemon cake. So this is the kind of tray I am going to use for the lemon cake. You can use a round pan, not a problem. So even though my pan is pretty good, I can use the batter directly in it, but I'm just showing it to you how to use a parchment. So if you're using a round pan, you just have to measure the base of the pan and then cut it round like that. So because I have a rectangle one, so I just cut it in that shape, greased with some oil and then placed it here. Now I'm going to slowly pour the batter in. So there are some bubbles because of the baking powder we used, or the baking soda we used. So I'm just going to release those. Now this batter is going to go in the oven on 350 Fahrenheit on the middle rack for around 35 to 40 minutes. So the way how we'll know that this particular cake is cooked, you have to check it with a toothpick. If the toothpick goes in completely without any sticky part coming out, it means this cake is done. So it's very important for the oven to be on the preheat before putting this pan. So my oven has been on still since 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm now going to put this tray in. So I also wanted to show you how you can steam this particular cake if you're using a round pan or something. So you just have to use a bigger pot like this, okay, and then you fill water until like 2 cups of water. Then you can place a tray, okay, like a stand, not a tray, sorry, a stand. Even a smaller stand will do. And then you pour in the batter in this by keeping a parchment paper first, and then pour in the batter and then place it nicely. And then first you have to heat this water, like bring it to a boil, and then you have to place all this thing, cover it, and then let the thing steam. So that's how you can use a steam method, which will be also fine. It will give a different kind of color to your cake. So my cake is ready here. Now this cake, I'm going to let it cool down completely on normal temperature, and just have to make sure that you do not use any artificial means like no fan or anything for this cake to cool down. So once it's completely cooled down, then we are going to slice it. So this is cooled down halfway. Now in order to cool it down completely from the bottom also, I'm going to just remove it completely out from here and put it on a tray. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to let this cool down completely. So there are certain tips I would like to give you. So how I made this in this bread shape, and if you do not like little bit of this crack happening to your cake, then what you have to do is just add half teaspoon of baking powder instead of 1 teaspoon, and then you will not get this. I sometimes shuffle in between the measurements of the baking powder like that. There is one more thing. So if you are using a round pan, and for that purpose also, if you do not want at all your cake to be like opening up, so this is actually called baking strips. Usually whoever bake cake and they want the surface of their cake to be level, they use these kind of strips. There are already instructions given when you purchase them. I bought them from Amazon. I cannot use this on a rectangle tray, but yes, on the round ones I can use them. So that is why I'm suggesting you this. I'll try to put the link of these strips online in the description. I don't know if you can find this in Amazon India, but I'll try to put the link for it if I find it. So yes, these are certain tips. There is one more thing, that sometimes I also shuffle in between the flour measurements. So how I use here, like 2 cups of flour. Sometimes I also use just 1.5 cup of the flour, and in doing that I bake the cake for more time. Now in this process I also shuffle the temperature between 350 to 300, which helps, and the texture is a little bit darker for that, but it turns out softer. I actually had made one of the cakes like that yesterday, so I'll just show you how it looks like. So this is how the cake with the 1.5 cup of measurement looks like. You just have to make sure that you cook it really well. This gives you a more moist texture. I mean, both are the same, it's just the color of it is a little bit darker. So you can try it like that, or you can just use this particular measurement. It's like almost the same, but this one is like more on the sweeter side because the flour you used is 1.5 cup, but you have to cook this one really well. You see this? So I hope you liked watching this video, and this recipe was very easy to understand. So there is one more thing, is that I have not made any icing for this particular cake. If you are interested in knowing how to make a simple icing for the lemon cake, then you can leave your comments below and I will make a separate video for that. If you haven't subscribed to this channel and you are watching it until the end, then please do so and hit the bell icon after subscription so that I can share with you more such amazing recipes. Keep on liking and sharing and giving me your support as how you are always giving. See you in the next video. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.